What is up, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of Touchdown and Ties, the father-daughter sports podcast discussing football and everything else in between. I'm your co-host, Brianna, the daughter of this duo.
What up, though, everybody? A Victory Monday. I'm Keith, her dad, the other co-host.
Yes, and in today's episode, we are going to be recapping Week 4 of the NFL. But before we do, please go ahead and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. That way you can be updated whenever we upload an episode. And of course, it also helps us out as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's talk about the winning team for us. Let's just jump straight into it this week.
Yes.
So the Browns versus the Lions. Lions came out with a dub 34-10, but according to Dan Campbell, it was not good enough. So let's kind of talk about why he said that. You know, I know on my end, there were a couple of things I was frustrated with. They had those back-to-back false starts. I feel like that was just such a mistake that you just can't make on the offense. You know, there were a couple of overthrown passes, incomplete passes from Jared Goff to Jameson Williams. It was all right. What did you think?
You know, I never thought I would see the day. I mean, I've been a Lions fan since you were like -25. So, I mean, it's like, I never thought I would see the day where a 24-point victory for the Lions would be deemed not good enough. That's
Crazy,
where the Lions are now. I mean, they're on that level. Yeah, it's very crazy. I mean, but you have to give Cleveland credit. Cleveland has a really good defense, and a lot of those things that a lot of mistakes, I should say, that the Lions made, you know, they were forced by the Browns defense. I mean, if you know, Jared Goff is standing in the backfield and, you know, Myles Garrett and those guys are closing in on him, and, you know, he needs another extra second to try to get the ball to J-Mo, because he had a couple plays where J-Mo was wide open, but he just couldn't get him the ball because he didn't have time. So sometimes you have to give the other team credit. It was a, you know, like a workmanlike effort for the Lions, and they did what good teams do. I mean, the Lions are a good team. Cleveland is not, you know, as good as the Lions are, and they went in and they won the game. That's what they were supposed to do. I mean, was it a pretty victory? No, but was it a victory? Yes. They did what they needed to do. So I'm okay with it. A victory is a victory.
Yeah, it wasn't the ugliest win that they could have, but I feel like particularly on offense, they were just kind of mid, as the kids say, like we say nowadays, you know?
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
and it was interesting because I felt like St. Brown, he did good. He had 2 TDs in the game.
Right.
We did see some stuff, a little bit from Gibbs, but I feel like we saw nothing from Montgomery last night. He had like 9 touches and like 12 yards
carries,
for the whole game. I was like, okay, are they just not utilizing him? Is he not feeling well? And I'm just like anxious because I'm just like, what is going on? Because it's just unheard of for the Lions not to be utilizing the both of them. And we didn't see him at all on the field, really.
I was surprised. I mean, for like the majority of the first half, it seemed like David Montgomery didn't play. He only had a few touches in the game. So, which was, you know, kind of weird, you know, coming off the game he had on Monday night against the Ravens, where he had a career high 150 yards rushing. I mean, you thought you would have featured him a little bit more in the offense, but for whatever reason, they didn't. You know, fortunately, they didn't really need much production from him. I mean, Jameer had like about 90 yards rushing or something like that. And as a team, I think the Lions still rushed for over 100 yards, which is key. And the offensive line for the Lions, I mean, since week 1 against the Packers, those guys have really come together. They gave up 4 sacks in week 1 against the Packers, and they haven't given up a sack since.
That's actually a record for them. First, in 3 games in a row, they haven't given up a sack. So
see, I didn't know. That's a good stat. I didn't know that. So the you know, offensive line, you know, they're playing well. They're playing well. And, you know, to quote, you know, the great Bill Belichick, something I've always wanted to say, we're on to Cincinnati.
Why did you want to quote that? What's so significant about that's
we're
hilarious.
On to Cincinnati. I didn't say it like he said it because, you know, he's so deadpan when he speaks. We're on to Cincinnati. And I think they had just lost a Monday night game or something like that. The Patriots, just when they were dominating and they didn't play well that particular game. And he was like, we're on to Cincinnati. So
he's like, that's enough said. And I say no more. I would say the last thing though about the Lions too is always the defense. Defense was unreal last night. I keep saying last night, yesterday morning. Aiden, he had 2 sacks. Alex Anzalone, he had 1 sack himself. Khalif Raymond with that crazy touchdown return on the
can't
punt.
forget that. That was sweet.
That was crazy.
That put the game away. That pretty much put the game away.
Because it was still plenty of time. It was really early in the fourth quarter. It was like 12, 13 minutes left.
And it was only
but from
a
that
10-point
point,
game.
I was like, I feel like that's kind of gonna seal it unless the Browns come back and do something. But then after that, there were so
Yeah.
many opportunities actually too with the Browns with Joe Flacco. He overthrew so many balls. The receivers had dropped so many dime passes that he actually threw to them.
Yeah.
It wasn't clicking for them. So as things just kind of kept rolling, I was like, yeah, that was, in retrospect, I was like, that was the play that probably sealed everything for the Lions.
The Browns started off that first drive of the game. I mean, they marched right down the field and
Down the field and
scored, and you're
scored.
just like, man,
They
what's
put points
going
on the
on?
board first.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the fourth straight game where the Lions have given up a touchdown on the opening possession, which is
Possession.
probably got to be some type of record or something like that. That
Yeah.
never happens. And you're
Yeah.
thinking like, okay, it's going to be one of those games because I always say
Mm.
there are
There
no
are
easy
no
games
easy
in the
games
NFL.
in football.
There's no easy games in football, man. And they went right down the field and scored. And after that, the defense settled down.
Yeah.
I mean, and the reason why I say that, there are no easy games in the NFL. Guys still get hurt. I mean, the Lions
Yeah.
lost, throughout the course of that game, they lost 3 guys from their secondary. Now, 2 of them were
Yeah.
able to come back into the game, but
Mhm.
it's just a brutal game.
Yeah.
And I don't care what the final score is. There are just no easy games in the NFL. And unfortunately, DJ Reed looks
Yeah.
like he may be going on IR, which means he
Yeah.
will miss a minimum of 4 games. So that's a big loss for the Lions. Even though they won the game, they lose
Yeah.
one of their star players.
Right. And if it's anything that we saw last year, it's like I don't wanna think
Ah,
about
I hope not.
anybody on the defense just having that
Mhm.
domino effect again.
And what did you think when Aiden went down?
Oh, I was pissed. Like, if I text you, I was like, "Ain't no way." I was like I was like my heart stopped. It was like I knew
Yeah,
this man personally. I was like, "If he don't get up right now." And then I saw
right,
an interview after it. He was like, "I got the wind knocked out of me." I was like, "He know better than to play like that. You better stand up and take a breath.
right.
You'll be all right."
I was watching the game. I was like,
I was sitting on the couch. I literally just, like, stopped what I was doing. I was like, "Does that say
yeah.
97?"
Yeah, I saw him on the ground, the way he was writhing in pain. I'm like,
Yes, and
"Oh,
his face,
man."
I was like, he looks
Yeah,
devastated. I was like,
yeah.
I
And the fans in the stands were like, "Oh," everybody
oh
was
my
panicking.
god, yeah, because as I was
Everybody was
texting you and I
panicking.
was, like, literally sitting here like this, I heard
Yeah.
the crowd just, like, erupt, and I was like, "Okay."
He jogged off the
Uh,
field. I was like, "Woo, sigh of
I was like,
relief."
"Oh my god," because if that
Yeah.
happened again, I would have been done with the season. I'm like, I just
Yeah.
emotionally, I was like, "I can't handle that." I was like, "I
Yeah, I would have been
cannot handle that
devastated.
again."
Yeah, that would have been
I was
devastating.
like, "He can't do that no more." I was like, "We all," I
No,
don't wanna use this word
no.
and being sensitive, but we all have PTSD from that. Don't
Right?
do that no more.
Yeah, he gave everybody a scare.
He
Definitely
did.
gave everybody a
Yeah, he
scare.
did. It's just a game,
But
but I'm glad that he's okay
yeah,
because
we need Aiden.
we
We
need
we we
Aiden.
need
We
him.
need
We need
him.
him. If we're gonna
Yeah.
do anything this year, we're gonna need Aiden Hutchinson to be healthy. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad he was all
everybody
right.
else. So,
Yes,
y'all stay healthy.
definitely.
Alright, let's go ahead and move on to Baltimore and Kansas City. So, Kansas City said we are not going 1 and 3. They won
Yeah.
37-20, and Pat
And it
Mahomes
wasn't
is
even that
now
close.
no, it
It wasn't
wasn't.
even that close. Wasn't even that
No.
close. Yeah.
And Pat Mahomes is now 6-1 in his head-to-head against Lamar Jackson. And
Yeah.
as much as I'm rooting for them, they suck, at least right now.
Officially, yeah, the Ravens right now, they suck.
They
And I think
suck.
Lamar Jackson, he has a 4-10 record now against Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes. The other 2 teams that have been up there with them
With them.
since he's been playing in the AFC.
Yeah.
He's only 4-10 against those 2 teams. I think it's 4-10, something like that. I mean, whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's not a good record. But who would ever thought that Baltimore would be Kansas City's get right game, right?
Like, back to back too. I'm like,
Yeah,
because like you said, it was the same case last week when they played the Giants and we're like, who's gonna be their get right game that week? And it was the
right,
Giants. And then this week was kind of another situation because like who's gonna go down to 1 and 3?
right.
And you could say you would think that it would have been a more of a battle,
Yeah.
but it wasn't in that game. So because like for me, when I watched the Bills game and they lost, I was like, okay,
Mhm.
it was just a couple of mistakes that you kind of need to tweak. But with the way that they played, I was like, they're still going to be the Ravens. They're still going to dominate, be one of the teams to talk about in the AFC. And then they
Right.
played the Browns and they beat them 41-17. And I was like, okay, like they're looking good. They're looking fine. And then they played the Lions. And like I said last week, just because the score was 38-30, I did not think that that was indicative of how the Ravens actually played. The score was close, but how they played was not close at all. The Lions were
Right.
clearly dominant in that game. And then you get to Kansas City and then they get blown out,
Yeah.
essentially, because
And then Lamar Jackson potentially,
He's potentially
he came
hurt.
out with a hamstring injury, so we have to wait
Yeah.
and see how long he's going to be out with that. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird, because the Ravens defense, they have the same guys that they had last year, but the
Mhm.
defense this year is horrible. I mean, I know I said this
Mhm.
about the Cowboys a couple weeks ago, but the Ravens actually have the worst defense, at least coming into the week. They had the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
Even worse than the Cowboys, if you can believe
Yeah.
that. So, but it's kind of weird because they didn't lose any guys. At least with the Cowboys, you can say they lost Michael Parsons or
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
I know the Ravens probably have a couple guys that's injured or whatever, Kyle Van Noy, and then they're the defensive tackle or whatever. But the defense is bad, and
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. And this is the first time this year that we saw the offense not play well.
The
The
offense
offense went
did.
down. The first drive of the game, they went down and scored, but after that, they
Yeah.
didn't look good.
Yeah, they only had 23 receiving yards on the team. Derrick Henry had 2 touches for 16 yards, and then Lamar
You
Jackson was
said
sacked 3 times.
23?
20 wait, am I saying that? Oh, I'm sorry, no. That is incorrect. That is correct. They had 23 receptions for 199 yards. So I typed that out
Okay.
wrong. Sorry.
So he completed 23 passes for
Yeah,
190, what is that,
99
199 yards? Okay, yeah,
yards,
that sounds
yeah.
about right.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that
so
sounds about
I wrote
right.
that down wrong, but
You know,
still,
but either way, the
either
the Ravens
way,
offense is just not
yeah,
not looking good. And it's
yeah,
kind of hard to really gauge. Kansas City, they did get Xavier Worthy back yesterday,
he
so that
did.
offense looked a little bit better.
Yeah,
But
they
now
he
it's like, is it them or was it the Ravens defense? Because the Ravens defense
mhm,
is just bad.
yeah.
But,
But like
the
you said
Chiefs
earlier,
offense looked pretty good.
you have to give credit to both sides. Like you said, Xavier Worthy was finally back for the Chiefs, so that opened up the
Yeah,
field for them more, which is something that
right.
they haven't been able to do. And then we still haven't seen them with Juju Smith-Schuster. We haven't seen them with
Rashid Rice.
Rasheed Rice and then
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy all
Xavier
at the
Worthy.
same time.
Right, right.
So once Rasheed Rice comes back, then it's going to open up the field for them even more. So once they get those issues fixed on the outside, the Chiefs will probably bounce back
But
the way they did it. They just had a
yeah,
lot to navigate those first couple of weeks.
they're there, and the first couple weeks of the season, everybody was just like, "What's wrong with the Chiefs?" And like I always
Yeah.
say, it's early in the season, give them time or whatever. And now you look
Yeah.
up and they're 2-2, only
Yeah.
a game behind the LA Chargers, who went to New York yesterday and lost to the Giants. What about that?
I'm thinking, is Russell Wilson never going to start again?
No, I think it may be over for him in New York. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you put
yeah,
in Jackson Dart, a rookie against who was a good team, and he got the
yeah.
victory and he got a touchdown himself,
Play
111
well,
yards. He played well.
play well. First
So,
start. Yeah,
yeah, I think Russell
play well
Wilson was
against
in
a
there
good
for
football team.
2 seconds. Yeah. So,
I Russell Wilson didn't play
yeah.
at all yesterday, right?
I
I don't think he got in the game at all.
he was in there for literally 2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
It is
Okay.
I don't remember the exact number. Here it is. So it was Russell Wilson. Yeah. So he had a one-to-one catch and completion attempt for 8 yards. So
Okay.
I would assume he was in
Okay.
there for just 2 seconds.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
but it
it's
was
Jackson Dart's team
Jackson
now.
Dart the whole way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's his team now, and it's going to be
Yeah.
tough for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He'll probably end up being released at some point or traded.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart went in there against a really good. I keep wanting to call these guys the San Diego Chargers, but they're not the San
Well, to
Diego
be
Chargers
fair,
anymore, but the LA Chargers.
like, why does LA need
Uh,
2 teams?
exactly. Yeah, that's a whole nother story
I
there.
know.
But yeah, the Chargers are supposed to be, one of they probably still will be one of the top teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart went in there and he got the victory. That's another way
Yeah.
of saying it. They got the victory. But
Yeah.
in victory, they too had a defeat with Malik
Yes.
Neighbors.
Yeah, that was the biggest story for them is losing Malik Neighbors to ACL injury for sure.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a big loss, not just for the Giants, but for NFL fans, because you
Yeah.
like to see guys like that perform. I mean,
Play.
Malik
Yeah.
Neighbors is a really good receiver.
Yeah.
He's one of the reasons why, if you're not a Giants fan, you're one of the reasons why you would watch them just to see him play. But now with
Mhm.
him being out, it's a blow to the entire NFL and all the
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
Hope he
Do
gets
you know
well
who
soon.
their backup receiver is for the Giants? I don't even know.
I don't.
I have
He's
no
not
clue.
Malik Neighbors, so I don't
Yeah.
know who it
Yeah.
is. I mean, he's in the NFL, so the guy's a decent player, whoever he is. I just don't know
Right.
his name. Don't
Right.
know his name.
Right.
But it's going to be a big loss,
Mm.
without a Malik out
The
there,
neighbor.
and
Yeah.
he probably won't be back until middle
9
part of
months
next
minimum.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 9 months, I guess. So yeah, maybe he'll be back to
I
start the
mean,
season
it
next year.
depends. I mean, athletic trainers, it depends on who's doing the rehab with your
Right.
physician that you're working with your AT that you're working with. Minimum you could do is 6 months, but the earlier
Okay.
you come back, the more prone you are to re-injury. So
Right. Okay.
I always like to err on the side of caution. Like if we have the time, let's capitalize off of that,
Hmm.
because 6 months from now, the season's gonna be over anyway. So like,
Right.
what are we rushing you back for?
Right.
I'd
Right.
rather you take your time, get stronger, get faster, do all the things, right? So that
So
way when you come
so he
back
should be
next
back in
season,
September. Yeah.
he should be. Yeah. That's I
Okay.
always try to find a silver lining in things, but if an
Okay.
ACL injury is taking you a year to recover and it's just an ACL, it's not like an unhappy triad or something else like that. There's no other
Hmm.
structures in the knee that were messed up.
Right.
Minimum 6 to 9 months. If you're taking a year to come back, there's some other things that you're probably looking at that they have
Okay.
deficiencies
All
in
right.
that either weren't addressed early on or what. But he should be
Okay.
good. Like I said, it's a year out,
That's
so
good. Good.
he's gonna miss a season, but he'll be alright.
He'll be back.
So
He'll be back to start next season for sure.
yes, for sure.
Okay, that's good. Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that. I just hate to
All
see
right.
guys get hurt. I just
Yeah.
hate to see him get hurt like that. So I'm glad he'll be
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Glad he'll be back. Did you
All right.
see the play that in the Colts and Rams game? The kid
Why did
was
he
going
drop the
in.
ball before he went to the end zone?
He was trying to celebrate, and it cost him a touchdown. And ultimately, his mistakes helped cost them the game because now they, instead of getting a touchdown, it's a touchback. The Rams get the ball coming back the other way, and you take 7 points off the board. I mean, that is a mistake that's going to be hard for him to live down because it cost
If
them
I
the
was the
game.
coach, he's benched. There's some things you just don't come back from
Yeah.
because I get he was excited. I don't know the kid. I don't know if how many years he's been in the league. I don't know if he's had a touchdown
I
before.
think
I
he's a
don't.
rookie. I think he may be a rookie. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
though.
So maybe that's he just got excited too quickly and, in
Yeah.
the heat of the hype of the moment, he was
Of
excited, all
course.
the
Yeah,
things.
of
Like I
course.
can't fault him too much. I'm gonna put the blame on him because he did it, but I can
Right.
recognize both sides and try to show him some grace. But I was like, dude, I was like, how you gonna drop the ball before you get into the end zone? And it's not the first time that this has happened. I mean, we've seen this
No,
happen
it
before.
happens.
This is
Yeah.
unfortunately a common mistake
Yeah.
in NFL and college. It happens all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah, I felt bad for him. Like, and I
yeah,
don't know if I don't know if he's a rookie now, but I think this would have been his first NFL touchdown. So
touchdown.
therefore, he
Yeah,
was excited. And it's just a freak mistake, right?
it
Because how
is.
often does, you grip the football and you have no issues with it. This
Mm-hmm.
particular time he goes to extend the ball to celebrate and it slips out of his hand. I was
Yeah.
like, wow. And then later on in the game, Jonathan Taylor had a touchdown run that was called back on a holding penalty by the same guy. So he ended up costing them two
Mm.
touchdowns in that game, and they only lost by 7.
I wonder
So,
what the vibe is like when, like, with the team and the coaches when people make mistakes like that. Like, is it
mhm.
everybody's like upset with them and not talking to them or what? I know not everybody's probably mean, but I'm
Right.
sensitive, so I'm just like, what? How are they treating this man because of what
You
he did? Because, like you said, he essentially cost him two freaking
2
touchdowns.
touchdowns, yeah. You could see literally, like, right after that first play happened when he fumbled the ball, all his teammates come and patting him on the head, saying, "All right, man, keep your head up. We need you.
Hmm.
Stay focused, stay in the game." But I think at that point, mentally, he had checked
He
out
was
because he
checked out.
couldn't get over the mistake that he made. That's what I think. But,
Yeah,
the leadership of the team, they tried to gather around him and, lift him up and say, "Hey, man, stay focused." But it's kind of hard, when you make a mistake like that and you feel like it cost your team. It certainly cost your team points. Now, whether or not you want
right.
to say it cost them the game or not is a different story. But it
Yeah,
definitely cost his team a touchdown.
for sure.
It was a great play too. I mean, he
Yeah, it was.
outfought the cornerback for the pass, whatever. He did the little spin move down the sideline and he was gone. And it
Hmm.
was like all for naught because it didn't even count. But I think the Colts are still a good team. I think we had talked
Yeah,
about wanting to see if the Colts were for real. I still think the Colts are a good team. I
yeah.
mean, they played, the Rams pretty tough in that game. So
Hmm.
I'm not down on the Colts at all. I think they're gonna be okay.
Yeah, yeah. Did you watch the Eagles and Tampa Bay game yesterday?
I
It was on the
watched
same
the
time as
Eagles
the
and Tampa
Lions,
Bay.
so I know if
Well,
you how
I
much of
had
it
both going at the same
same
time. So
time.
yeah,
Yeah,
I did see that.
yeah,
But the game started out like it was a blowout.
yeah,
It was a blowout. So I kind of turned away from it for a minute
yeah.
and focused on another game. But I was paying attention to, when as Tampa started to come back, and they made it a good game. I mean, because Philly in the second half, I don't think they had any passing yards
That was the
in the
biggest
second half
story
of that
of
game.
that game.
Think they had any passing
Biggest story
yards.
of that game. So the Eagles did not complete a single pass in the second half. They had 0 yards
Wow. Yeah.
receiving. So then A.J. Brown had 2 catches for 7 yards. Dante Smith had 2 receptions for 29. And then Dallas Goedert, he was leading with 4 receptions and 37 yards. All of that happened in the first half. So it was kind of like last week when they started off really, really slow against the
Right.
Rams. And then they came back in the
Right.
second half and sealed the game.
Right.
And then this week they came out strong, they came out fast, and they just fell asleep in the second half, and they had to stay in the game.
Right.
That was just really strange for me. I don't understand that. I mean, I don't know what's going on with their offense, but it's pretty much since the beginning of the season, their offense has clearly struggled in some way, shape, or form. They've been winning, they've been playing good enough, but
Right.
at one point that's going to catch up to them. Like they are 4-0, give them the credit, but there's a lot that they need to fix if they want to think about going to the Super Bowl again this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they started out the game the same way they ended the game the previous week against the Rams. They blocked a
Right.
punt and scored a touchdown. So I
Oh,
thought that was
yeah, I
kind of
saw
ironic.
that.
That's just like,
I
that's
thought that
pretty
was
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But it should be kind of scary for the rest of the league that the Eagles are 4-0 and they haven't
Mhm.
played well yet. They haven't
That is
played a
true.
complete game. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
think obviously, there's another level that the Eagles can get to, but yet they're 4-0 while they're trying to get there.
Yeah.
So that should be a little scary for
I
the
guess a
rest
good
of the
way to look
league.
at it, yeah, because when they do
Yeah.
actually, start locking in and gelling together and
Yeah.
playing how they know that they can play, that if that time will
Absolutely.
come,
Absolutely.
that's gonna be it'll be a little rough.
It's going to be interesting. I definitely think they're still obviously one of the better teams
Yeah.
in the NFC, and if not the entire
In the
NFL. So they're
NFL
going
for
they're going to be
sure.
there, and when you look in their division, the Commanders lost, so they're 2-2.
Mhm.
The Giants, they got their first win of the season, and then the game last night with the Cowboys and the Packers ending up in a tie. The Eagles are like still 2 games in front of everybody else in their division,
Yeah.
and they haven't played well yet.
Yeah.
But it's still early.
Yeah.
I keep emphasizing that it's still
Well, it
early.
is. I mean, we played 4 games and there's 17 games in the season?
Yeah,
So, literally
absolutely,
every single team in the NFL has time to turn everything
oh,
around if they really
absolutely. There's
wanted
still
to.
13
Every
games
team
left.
does. Yeah.
13 games left, and the
Yeah.
good teams will. I mean, I don't really start focusing in on records and who's doing this and who's doing that until like around halfway throughout the season.
Yeah.
Once you get to the halfway point of the season, you can tell now who some of the good teams are. Like I said,
Mhm.
the Eagles are good, the Buccaneers are good, the Lions are good, the Chargers are good. You know the teams that are good, but you still don't really have a firm grasp on just how good these teams are going to be until we get to like maybe week 8, week 9.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen. Injuries take place. Things just happen. So
Yeah.
still early. Still early.
Well, you did mention that Imma call it terrible because I'm upset. The Packers and the Cowboys last night, okay?
Right.
If you are anywhere not on the East Coast and the game is still on at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and that is late, okay? And then it wants to end in a tie. I don't even know why ties are even allowed in the
Yeah.
NFL.
I
I
hate all
thought whenever
ties.
I thought at that point, once the Packers scored that field goal at the end, I was like, "Okay, cool, double OT." And, like, with a game like that, we can go to 12 overtime. I don't care. I said, "Somebody needs
Right.
to come out with a win." 40
Right.
40.
Yeah. Yeah, in a game like that, man, they could be like Lionel Richie and play all night long. You know what I'm saying? I hate ties, man. Neck ties, bow ties. I hate all ties, man. Just somebody win the game. I mean, I commit
Oh
three and a
my
half, 4 hours
gosh.
to watching this game and it ends in a freaking tie?
Like,
Really?
that's crazy. And it was a good freaking game. Like, after
It
the
was a good
first
game.
quarter,
It was a good
that was a
game, yeah.
great game. Like, you have to give the
Yeah.
Cowboys credit for coming back from 13-0,
Right.
and they were
Right.
able to go into halftime with the lead,
Yeah.
So, I don't
It
know.
was a really good game.
It was a really
Really
good
good
game
game.
from just possession here, touchdown, field goal, interception, fumble recovery, like returning
Right.
the punt for, 2 points. Like, it was an
Yeah.
exciting game for
Had
the
some of
Cowboys, for
everything.
the Packers, for
Mm.
everything. They literally had something of
Mhm.
everything in that game.
Mm.
And I feel like if it was maybe like 10-10, at the end of the game, we was going to overtime, and then it ended up 13-13, whatever. It was a boring game,
Right.
nothing really happened, whatever. But
Right.
you had a game like that,
It was a
and
shootout.
yeah, and 40-40. I was like, there's somebody needs to win. Even the announcer were just like, "Oh, well, I guess that's it. Good night."
Yeah. I don't remember, like, I think at halftime, what was the score? 16-13, maybe at
Yeah,
halftime?
yeah, 16-13, I believe. Yeah.
So in the second half, one team scored 27 points, the other team scored 24 points. I don't think either team punted in the second half. I mean, they were just going up and down the
Yeah, I
field.
don't
Neither
remember
defense
that
could get a
either.
stop. I don't think either team punted.
Yeah,
They were just going up and down the field. So you kind of got the feeling
yeah.
that whoever had the ball last
Was
was
gonna
going to
win the
win the
game.
game. And
Yeah.
when Micah finally showed up and got that sack that probably saved the touchdown in
Yeah.
overtime, and forced Dallas to kick that field goal, you kind of felt like, okay, Green Bay get the ball last, they're gonna score a touchdown, they're gonna win the game.
Right. Right.
And they got down there and they just
Mhm.
kind of like, I mean, what are you guys doing? You just kind of like stop playing. You didn't have any
Yeah.
timeouts. You were just letting the clock run out. And really, I thought on that last play, I thought the clock really did run out, but they
I
gave
thought
them a
it did
second.
too. That
Yeah,
was kinda debatable. I was like,
right,
"Okay,
right.
1
So I
second
don't,
left.
I don't know
Alright,
what
I
they were doing. It's
guess."
poor clock management on the
Yeah.
Packers' part. Very poor
Yeah.
management. So at the end of the day, they were actually lucky that they
Mhm.
were able to kick that field goal and get the
Yeah.
tie.
Yeah.
But it was just disappointing, man. It was so
Yeah.
unfulfilling to
Right.
to invest all that time watching this game
Right.
and it ends in a freaking tie. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
get rid of ties. I mean, even in college football, I don't necessarily like the rules of overtime in college football. I don't like each team starting at the 25-yard
25,
line.
yeah. I
But
don't
at
like
least
that
the
either.
game is not going to end in a tie.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to come up with something,
Something, yeah.
to so the game don't end up in a tie. That's terrible. Somebody just need to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, that game was exciting. The one play I think about a lot was at the end of the game. It was 4th quarter, and I wanna say it was like a minute and 45 seconds left, and the Packers scored, and I was like, "Dang it." And
Right.
then 'cause I just not because I'm a Cowboys fan, but just because the Lions, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the Packers losing helps us. So
100%. Right.
right. If it comes down to the
100%.
same record and we're head to head and whatever, that's a whole different story. But anyway, I felt like subconsciously I was rooting for the Cowboys to win because it helps the Detroit Lions. And
Right.
so, like I said, it was a 4th quarter. It was like a minute and 45 seconds left and the Packers scored. And I was like, Dak, I'm rooting
Yeah.
for you for the one and only time in my life. Like, you need to go down the field and score. And they did.
Did it, like, really
But they're
fast too. Like 3 or
really
4
fast.
plays,
I
they
think it was
scored.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was super, super quick. Got down the field
Yeah.
and they scored that touchdown, and I was like,
Right.
"Okay, really good." But then there was time left on the clock, and then the defense didn't stop Green Bay for, like you just said, going down the field, and then they scored that field goal, and I was like, "What are you guys
Right.
doing right now?"
I didn't leave from watching that game feeling any better about the Cowboys defense than I did coming into the game. I mean,
Well, they
they
gave
had
up
given
40
up they still gave up 40 points. I mean,
Yeah.
so now over the last 3 games, they've given up over 1,000 yards passing,
Yeah.
10 touchdowns. So the defense is still
Mhm.
not that great, but
Yeah.
they did show something. I mean, they have some young guys out there that were pressuring Jordan Love. Every week you're not going to face a mobile quarterback like a Jordan Love that can
Mhm.
escape being sacked and that sort of thing. So I think over the course of time or whatever, their numbers will pick up a little bit because they will
Yeah.
face guys who they are able to sack. They
Yeah.
did have the one sack, the strip fumble against
Yep.
Jordan Love there right before halftime. So,
Yep.
you
And that's
know,
when they scored, yeah.
they got some guys on that defense that can
Mhm.
help make them better.
Yeah.
But right now it's still a struggle. And
Yeah.
conversely, you go into this game, everybody talking about how great the Packers defense is. They couldn't get
Mhm.
a
They also
stop.
gave up 40 points, yeah,
They
against the
couldn't get a
freaking
stop
Cowboys.
against the Cowboys who had injuries along their offensive line.
Yep. Mhm.
CeeDee Lamb was
Lamb was
out,
out, yeah.
and Dallas put up 40 points on Green Bay. So again, that's why I always say, don't get too excited. Beginning
Yeah.
of the season, the offenses are still trying to get in rhythm. Guys are still trying to get their legs up under them because they haven't
Mhm.
played in preseason. The Packers, I think I mentioned that I thought the Cowboys would win the game because I thought they would
Mhm.
be ready to play. I mean, they have
Yeah.
motivation too. They're
Mhm.
not going to let Micah come in and
Mhm.
ruin the day. And the Cowboys, they didn't win, but they didn't lose either. They
They
played
didn't
a
lose
lot
either. They
better
played they played very well.
than
That's the
people
best I've
thought
seen
they
them
were
play in
going
a
to
long
play.
time. That is the
Yeah, and
best
I
I've seen
and I
them play
thought
in
that
a
they
long
would. I
time.
just had a feeling that the Cowboys were
Yeah.
going to be ready to play.
Yeah.
And there's one interesting stat from that game that I didn't even know. Your sister actually told me this. The Packers have never lost a game at AT&T Stadium. Is that not crazy? They've
We gotta
never
fact
lost a
check
game.
that. Ain't no way.
No, I did. Trust me. They have never lost a game at AT&T Stadium. They're now 6-0-1 at AT&T Stadium. They're 5-0-1 against the Cowboys. And then the latest Super Bowl that they won, Super Bowl 45, or I think it was, 45, 46, whatever it was at AT&T Stadium against the Steelers, and they won that game at Jerry World, whatever you want to call it, Jerry's World, whatever you want to call it. The Packers have never lost a game at AT&T Stadium, which was pretty interesting. I did not know that.
Okay. Well,
they're
shout out Big Sis for the stat.
Yeah. I was like, get out of here. I was like, no, that can't be true. And I pulled it up, and sure enough, it's true.
Okay. Contributing to the pod. Okay. Shout out Big Sis. Thank you so much.
Right.
And the last thing I want to say about that game, too, was give credit to George Pickens. Pickens
played well.
He had a great game. A great game.
He did. But over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He enters free agency at the end of the season.
On the sideline there. I think because
I
didn't know he's only signed for 1 year.
His free agency, his contract is up at the end of the 2025 NFL season. So what I would say, Cowboys don't get too attached because you never know.
But, it was never a question of his talent. I mean, George Pickens was a great receiver when he was with Pittsburgh. It's just, people was always question his attitude or whatever. So, but he showed last night that when he's focused and he's locked in, he's a really, really good receiver.
Good player. Yeah.
And he's going to get that opportunity now with CeeDee Lamb being out for a few games.
Right, because he stepped
George
up
Pickens
when CeeDee's not there. Yeah.
He looked really good. So, good for the Cowboys, I guess.
Hopefully Jerry will keep him. That's all I'll say.
We'll see. We'll see about that. So, we don't have any really interesting games tonight. Jets in Miami. I think it's the Broncos and the Bengals. Yeah. So I'll probably pay attention to that one because that's who the Lions play next.
Play next week, yeah.
But I mean, but it's the NFL. People gonna watch regardless. I don't care what the records
I'm gonna have
are.
it on.
Exactly. It's a doubleheader football on Monday night. You're gonna watch it. I mean, what else is there to watch? There's no basketball on or baseball games. Playoffs don't start till tomorrow. So people are gonna watch just out of curiosity. You're gonna watch to see, Justin Fields and Tua, which one play better.
Yeah.
So you're gonna watch. Definitely gonna watch.
Yeah. Well, it was a good week between college and NFL. I feel like for me, week 4 and week 5 respectively have been my favorite week so far this season. I think, like I said on our episode yesterday, it's like the closer we inch to October, the games start picking up, and I'm like, yes. So
it's football season. It's the most wonderful time of the year. So you're gonna watch. You're gonna be engaged.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who's playing. You're gonna watch.
Yep. So. Well, we'll be watching next week as well.
Yeah, next week starts off on Thursday. I think this week we have the 49ers. Is it the 49ers and the Rams Thursday night? I think 49ers suffered some more injuries yesterday in their game against Jacksonville.
It is 49ers.
Shout out
and
to
the Rams
Jacksonville.
in LA.
They're 3-1 this year. The game is in LA.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Jacksonville 3-1 this year. So shout out to them. They doing well.
Nice.
Doing well. But the 49ers have a lot of injuries, man. So we'll see on Thursday night against the Rams.
Yeah.
And you say the game is in LA?
It's in LA.
Okay. All right.
Cool. So we'll go ahead and end this episode here. Thank you guys so much for tuning into our little yap session. And we will catch you guys at our next episode as we recap week 6 of college football and the Thursday night game coming up this week. Again, if you haven't already, please go ahead and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. That way you can get updated whenever we upload an episode, and it also helps us out as well. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
All right. Y'all stay here till we get back.